Good morning. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you trust media today? I think it's really serious for them now. Of course, I remember what it was like earlier in the 70s, 80s, 90s. They could say whatever they wanted. Nobody could expose them. Nobody could correct them. It was very, very hard, almost impossible. So they just didn't care. But now it's different. Because now when they write some stupid article or say something stupid on the TV news, the truth will come out, see, from people. People's telling you, no, this is not how it is. And this will get attention, see. I mean, many of these channels and podcasts, they have more views than the media article in itself. So it's very, very different now. But they still do it. I'm wondering about this. I mean, media, they are still lying. So I think it's really serious for them. I have a very good example of this. And this is from Sweden. So it's about a guy from Afghanistan. He came to Sweden in 2013. And then a bit later he was sentenced for rape. So he raped a girl, 14-year-old girl, right? And then he was also a thief. So he was stealing stuff, right? And then eventually the court said they had enough. So they sentenced him to jail and deportation. Now, I don't think he was ever deported because he's still here in Sweden now. You see. So, and now he's 28 years old. And then he went into a grocery store with a bag and he stuffed cheese in the bag, lots of cheese, and went out. The cheese was worth about $170. That's a lot of cheese. Right. And then he got into a fight with one of the staff members in the grocery store. So he hit the guy and threatened him, right? And then he was caught, right? This guy from Afghanistan, he was caught. Right, so that's what happened. And now he was sentenced, they are kicking him out of Sweden now, back to Afghanistan, right? So now, I think it's the biggest newspaper here in Sweden, Dagens Nyheter, Today's News. They wrote about it. And you know what they said? Now, this was the headline. Just imagine this. Headline in Today's News. 28-year-old stole cheese from store and was sentenced to prison and deportation. This was the headline. And in the article, there's nothing about the rape or the fact that he was sentenced for deportation. Nothing about this. Right? So, of course, when people read the article, they thought, wow, he stole some cheese. And now they are kicking him out. This is terrible, right? So that's what they wrote. Now, what happened was that people started to talk about it and reported the actual story on X, for instance, right? And lots of people talked about this thing. And 4 days later, the newspaper edited the article and included the fact that he was sentenced for rape, right? So now, isn't this weird? How they did it? They knew the story, of course, but they decided to write this thing about the cheese. That's all, Did they think they would get away with it? And did they actually think that people would believe the story? Because just even a lefty liberal idiot would think, wait a minute, he stole some cheese and he's deported. This is weird. I think so. Maybe not. Maybe a stupid, idiot, liberal lefty would think, yeah, there you go. This is what happens in this fascist society, you know. So I just think it's very strange that they still do it. I mean, media. I have another story. Now, this story, I don't know if it's true, right? But it's apparently it's German news. There's this guy talking into a camera, and he's talking about how bad Russia is. And he is in Ukraine, right? And he says that Russia, they cut all electricity for the poor Ukrainians, leaving children freezing without heat. See? So he's standing there talking into the camera, and behind him there's a billboard. To his left, there's this very bright billboard showing commercials, right? Now, in the city, right there, behind him. Now, I'm not sure about this story, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is what's going on. He's speaking German too, and I don't know German that well, but I think he's talking about this thing, that the bad Russians cut all electricity. And there it is, the billboard. So trust in media, I think it's a serious matter now. And also trust in politicians and doctors. See? Now what will this mean to our societies? Well, I think, it will be different. That people stop trusting media, I think is fantastic. And that people start to take responsibility for their own health is just great. See? And the politicians, they don't deserve any trust. So I think it's all good. Right. Be good.